Hey guys, and welcome back to the Blissful Athlete. Thank you for tuning in. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about past lives and whether they exist or not. And I grew up, I thought this was just like the only body I'd get, and once I'm dead, I'm dead. I was an atheist and I thought, well, this was it. But eventually, through my spiritual awakening, I came across a lot of interesting facts and studies, and one of them was written by this doctor, Ian Stevenson. And he did a study where he would travel all over the world. The study was based mainly in the Middle Eastern countries, and he went to all these different families that had said that they had kids that said they had past lives, and these children were around the ages 4 and to about 10 or so, I think. It was a while ago when I read the book, but so these kids would say, "You're not my dad, you're not my mom, my mom is, Sally, and Sally is, and my brother is Steve, and they live over here." And then they would give like the exact place of address where these families were. And what Dr. Stevenson did was he would basically say, "Okay, is this real?" Like, he would go to this family and then he'd track down where these kids are saying that they're from. And the study was incredible because it ultimately showed that yes, these kids were saying legitimate things that about other people, including like the names of their grandparents and how they even died in some cases. And so all of this stuff was really interesting. But for me, this was in text form. And then one day I came across a YouTube video about this kid that said he had died in World War II in a plane crash. And this was on a local news channel actually, and so they showed this kid and how he was talking about who he was and who his wife was, and it was really intriguing, really cool to see, and even cooler to see the local news channel covering it. But I'll put a link to that video in this in the comment section, or not the comment section, in the description below. But to see all of these different experiences and that they're actually real was something so cool. And for me though, it was still like the science. Like, I needed to know the science of how this is possible. And what I discovered is that basically this is a glitch within the subconscious mind. So we're infinite beings, right? We're consciousness, we're pure consciousness, and we're having this human experience. And when you die, it's not that you die, it's that the avatar that you're in, the body that you're in is dead, and you can't use this machine anymore. And so your consciousness goes back to the whole. And this whole, again, is beyond time and space, because there is no such thing as time and space. But you take all this information that you've experienced in this lifetime with you into a different realm, basically. And with that information, you can decide and take on a new body with these lessons that you've learned. And all this information is stored within you. It's stored within your muscle memory, your bio memory, your very being has this stuff stored in its DNA. And so what we find is that your next life is basically playing off of what you've experienced. And so my past life, I had learned through an Akashic reading. I mentioned this in another video, but I took an Akashic reading where I could discover, something about the future, something about the past. And I had learned that in my past life, I was a yoga instructor to many in the time of Meenakshi. So that is roughly like 5,000 years ago or so. So my last birth was 5,000 years ago. I died. I took all this information with me up into this different realm, the fourth dimension, we'll call it. And then I've taken this new birth 5,000 years later. Now, it doesn't feel like 5,000 years because there's no such thing as time and space. It just happens in a moment. It's all happening in one moment. And to get even more trippy, it's all happening in the same moment. But I won't dive into that right now. But so my past life, I was a yoga instructor to many, and here I am today. I'm sitting in India. I'm under the most enlightened being in the planet, and I'm one of his right-hand men as far as the yoga department's going. And my purpose here is to express and expand authentic yoga. So all of this stuff isn't happening for just some wild reason. There's a science to it. And the information that I've learned from back then, 5,000 years ago, is with me today. And so that's what's the real cool stuff about past life experiences and what you were in your past life and how you could carry forward. If you guys want to know about your past lives, there are Akashic readings that are done here, and I can let you guys know more about that if you're interested, so just comment in the section below. But ultimately, what I want you guys to realize is that yoga is about your soul, your being, your consciousness, uniting with that fourth dimension without having to die, okay? So rather than dying and going back to the source, self-realization is realizing that you're already connected to that source and you're already everything, you're already everywhere, you're already in every place and every time. And so yes, past lives exist, yes, future lives exist, only if you don't self-realize, you don't achieve enlightenment. And think of that as the end game. Once you achieve that within the body, so within this lifetime, if I experience enlightenment, that means like I've won the game of life. And so when that happens, I don't need to take another birth, which is a huge thing, because a lot of people, like the Buddha, are telling us that there's suffering involved with this life. And so coming back and experiencing life is a good thing because there's tons of love, there's tons of joy around, but ultimately there is something higher. There's even a greater dimension than the fourth dimension. Maybe I could talk a little bit more on that in another video, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video on past lives. Yes, they do exist. Maybe future lives exist. And I look forward to, and I hope that you guys actually look into discovering what your past life was, because it actually does help you in the future, okay? Whether that's your next life or this current life. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Looking forward to chatting with you guys more. Thank you for coming and commenting and liking the video. Please subscribe. Look forward to seeing you in the future. Be blissful.